Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about how to pass your driver's test, what you need to do, what the steps are to be successful and be smarter in studying to pass your driver's test. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. Hi there, Smart Drivers. Welcome back. Loving Hobby is here. I am in British Columbia, Canada is where I am. Evan is here. Mallory is here. Hello, Mallory. How are you, my friend? Tim with Drive Smart BC is here as well. And be sure to check out Tim's channel if you have any questions about traffic safety, any questions about driving culture, policing, court cases here in the province of British Columbia. Also has an excellent forum over there. So check that out at Drive Smart BC is Tim's site. Rocky's here. Hello, my friend. How are you in Windsor? Birds for Wheels is Corey. Corey is the moderator. Corey does an excellent job of keeping out the bad people because once you get to a certain size here on YouTube, you start to get spammed. And so Corey does an excellent job of that, as well as getting up videos that will give you more detail to the answers I give you to your questions. So we definitely answer all the questions we can about passing a driver's test, being a safer, smarter driver on the road. And Mrs. B is here. Lionel, Miss B, Ms. B. You're most welcome, Tim, my friend. Maze Metal is here. Just shorten it to Metal. And Katie is here as well. So lots of people here tonight. And usually gets pretty busy. So what we do is we have a few minutes of presentation, 10 to 12 minutes, to try to keep it short. I do have a couple other things I want to go over as well. Katie says he's taking his test on Wednesday. That's awesome. Congratulations. John is here from the Philippines. Welcome from the Philippines. That's awesome. Hello. And Corey has put up the link to Tim's website there. Thank you for that, Tim. DC is here as well. So lots of good stuff this week. Very interesting. Alan, I do my permit test on the 29th. What should I expect? We'll talk about that as well. Brupp says I saved lives. Yes, we're hoping that we can make you safer, smarter drivers and reduce your chances of being involved in a crash. And I do believe that, because if I didn't believe that, have that optimistic point of view, I wouldn't be here every week. I wouldn't be doing this and doing all the work that I'm doing, because I worked all day today. I was working for a client in the States that I'm doing consulting work for, so that's been very rewarding as well. Tristan, hello, my friend. Amanda's here. I took my test last week and passed first time. Congratulations, Amanda. That is absolutely stellar that you passed your driver's test first time. Congratulations on that. Awesome, awesome. Dean from Vegreville, Alberta. Welcome from Alberta. That's brilliant. And Jeanette's here as well. So without further ado, we will get over to the presentation here and we'll get going on that. So pass your driver's test first time. That's what we're talking about tonight. Skills, techniques, and strategies you need to be successful on your driver's test here. So for those of you new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver during the 1990s, mostly long haul out of the province of Ontario into the United States, mostly east of the Mississippi, the eastern seaboard, into Florida, Texas. Did get west a couple of times. I did do a run down into LA, but mostly east of the Mississippi. Became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997. Most of my experience is with commercial vehicles. I have an expertise in air brakes, and as well, over at the Smart Drive Test website, I've written a book called Air Brakes Explained Simply. Air brakes is really my expertise, and Corey will put the link up for that, so check that out as well as if you're working towards your CDL license. 2006, I graduated from the University of Melbourne with a doctorate in legal history, which is study policing, courts, and prisons. My expertise is in policing as it relates to traffic, oddly enough. While I was going to university, I drove buses for Greyhound and one of the regional bus lines there, so I have bus experience as well as tractor-trailer experience in teaching people how to drive cars. And in 2015, I started the online business, Smart Drive Test Incorporated, and the YouTube channel, and it's been wildly more successful than I could have ever imagined. And this year I've been working with a business coach to grow the business and extend the reach and help to even save even more lives and make more people safer, smarter drivers. So if you want to know more about that, check out the autobiography over at the Smart Drive Test website. So new video this week, the one skill. If you can implement this one skill, you'll be a safer, smarter driver. So have a look at that video and figure out what that skill is. And essentially, it's not a secret. Keep space in front of your vehicle, much more space than what you are. First thing you need to do for your driver's test is you need to get a learner's test. And most places will have the GDL, the Graduated Licensing Program, or the GLP, Graduated Licensing Program, which is called in Ontario and other places in Canada, but in the States it's called the GDL. You have to write a knowledge test. It consists of 50 multiple choice questions, of which you have to get 80%. So you have to get 40 of the 50 correct to pass the test. Signs, signals, road markings, right-of-way rules, attitudes, all kinds of questions that are in your driver's handbook. I highly recommend to you not to read the driver's handbook from cover to cover. It is boring and written by bureaucrats. Okay, go into the website or onto the internet, search for online practice driving test questions, do those, figure out the gaps in your knowledge. When you know what the gaps in your knowledge are, go back to the driver's manual, look those sections up that you don't know, and then go back and do the test. When you're getting 80 to 90% consistently on the tests, then you're ready to go into the DMV and write your knowledge test. You're also going to have to know terminology, things like painted island, two-way stop signs, four-way stop signs, those types of things, etc., etc., etc. Right of way and what is the driving task. There are 4 components to any driver's test: speed management, space management, observation, and communication. We're going to talk a lot more about observation because I ran into one of the threads on one of the videos on the YouTube channel here, and I just want to comment on shoulder checking and observation. But speed management is basically you have to do the posted speed limit or the posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. Space management, if you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit something. You must have a following distance of 2 to 3 seconds minimum in a car. Stop at the correct stopping position at controlled intersections, and you must stop in a queue of traffic or a line of traffic so that you can see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the pavement. You must communicate effectively as well. Communication includes lights and signals. Your horn, use it sparingly. Eye contact, use hand gestures if another driver isn't being careful of what you're doing. Use all 5 fingers if you're communicating, and then the position of the road user on or near the roadway, because if there's a pedestrian standing near the crosswalk, there's a high probability that they're going to cross the road. If a vehicle is in the left turning lane, there's a high probability that they're going to turn left. So position of the vehicle. All right, learn faster. If you're practicing for your on-road test, one of the things you need to do for your on-road test is you have to have your learners for a minimum of a year, 180 days, depending on where you are, which state you're in, which jurisdiction. But if you're practicing for your on-road test, you want to become a safer, smarter driver, and you want to learn faster and improve your overall driving, focus on these slow speed maneuvers, which can be a requirement of your driver's test. Parallel parking is required in 47 of the 50 states. There's only 3 states that do not require you to parallel park. That is California, Maryland, and Ohio. And each of them have their own maneuvers, which are different. 3-point turn, stall parking, which is backing into a parking space. Every test has backing into a parking space, so know that you must do that. 2-point reverse turn, which means basically you're backing around a corner, and you may have to do a U-turn. Some of these are up to the discretion of the examiner, but be prepared with parallel parking, 3-point turn, and backing into a parking space for the purposes of your driver's test. Requirements of the road test. These are some of the skills that you need. These are only some. This is not a definitive list here. Holding the vehicle in the center of the lane, observing and shoulder checking every time you change directions of the vehicle and turning, responding to changing traffic situations, and you are responding, not reacting, because if you're reacting, that is often an emergency. If you're in doubt on your driver's test in any traffic situation, simply stop, okay? And know the fly in the ointment of any driving test is emergency vehicles. If you do not come to a stop completely, as soon as you see the emergency vehicle behind you or approaching from the front, that is an automatic fail on a driver's test. And there as well, there's a video here of top 10 reasons that people will have automatic fails on a driver's test. Corey will put that up for you as well, and that'll help out. So, abilities for your driver's test: 2 hands on the steering wheel, stopping in traffic so you can see the tires of the vehicle in front making clear contact with the roadway, correct stopping position at controlled intersections, which is behind the stop line, before the crosswalk or sidewalk, and if those two conditions don't exist, then at the edge of the road where the two roads meet. You must stop at orange traffic lights for the purposes of a driver's test. Orange and red traffic lights mean the same thing. I mean yellow traffic lights, not orange traffic lights. My apologies. And right-of-way. You must know right-of-way rules, and also know for the purposes of driving and passing a driver's test that the right-of-way is never given, never taken. It is always, always given. So if another driver has to give it to you before you can go. So slow speed maneuvers, revisit the fundamentals. So after you've been driving for a while, go back to the parking lot, do your parallel parking, do your reverse stall parking, your 3-point turns, your 2-point reverse turns. And also know that it's a little dicey right now in terms of whether you're going to be doing a parking lot test or whether you're going to be doing out in the road test. Most places now, most DMVs now are back on the road. They're not doing parking lot tests, but there's still a few sprinkled around depending on what state, what county you're in. I don't know of any place in Canada that's still doing parking lot tests, but I do know that there are still a few places in the United States that are doing parking lot tests, so know that as well. You can take driving lessons, and I do strongly recommend that you do take driving lessons before your driver's test. If you're not taking any driver training, you can take a whole class, like a section of 10, and you can buy that from a driving school, or you can just take individual lessons. And if you're not going to take driver training, I strongly encourage you to take a mock driving test or a practice road test before you actually show up for your driving test. It might cost you $100 to go out with a driving instructor, but the return on investment is really, really high. So I encourage you to do that. Practicing in the year of you have your learner's test, and I know this is not the way that most people do it when they're practicing for the driver's test. Most get in the vehicle 6 to 8 weeks before their test. However, I do encourage you to drive as much as possible on your learners. Take every opportunity to drive that you can get. Practice in different vehicles and practice in different environments. If you get into the vehicle and during the test, one of the things that the examiner is going to ask you to do is he or she will ask you to turn on the defrost. They will ask you to activate the high beam lights, and they will ask you to put on the windshield wipers. Those are the 3 secondary controls that the examiner may or may not ask you to do. If you cannot activate the high beams and the low beams on the headlights, that indicates to the examiner that you didn't drive at night. Okay, you didn't have a lot of driving experience. As well with windshield wipers, same thing. You didn't drive in bad weather, in inclement weather, you didn't turn on the windshield wipers. And defrost, you didn't drive in cold weather and you didn't have to keep the windows clear. So even if you didn't get a lot of driving experience, know that you're going to have to do that for the purpose of your driver's test. So make sure you know what those secondary controls are before you show up for your driver's test. Okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes during a driver's test, people who should have failed pass the driver's test, and sometimes people who should have passed fail the driver's test. It's just the way that the situation goes. Sometimes drivers with not a very high skill level, just everything goes right on the driver's test. Nothing goes wrong, nothing that they have to deal with, and they're able to pass the driver's test. Unfortunately, for good drivers, drivers that have had a lot of practice, something just goes wrong in the driving environment and they're not successful. So book your practice driving test 3 weeks out before your actual driver's test, 7 to 10 days before the road test. And I say this because if you fail your driver's test and you have to go back, one of the things is that it's not only the skills that you got to put in place to pass your driver's test on the second attempt, you also have to rebuild your confidence, because for a lot of people, it's really stressful to take their driver's test. I wouldn't say it's the most stressful day in your life, as I do in my adverts, but for some it can be. It's very stressful, and it's all relative, right? Obviously we're going to have things in our life that are much more stressful than taking a driver's test, but it is stressful, and you don't want to have to come back and do it again and rebuild your confidence, because then it just takes almost as long to take your test the second time as it did for you to take it the first time. The fundamentals. Learn the basics. Focus on the fundamentals. Focus on turning, stopping, accelerating. Those will really, really improve your overall driving, okay? Luck favors the prepared. You must master the basic skills. Prepare for the opportunity that life is presenting to you that you will pass your driver's test, okay? The night before your driver's test, get good sleep. Put your documentation together if you need to wear glasses for your purposes of driving. Do that and make sure you have your money. When you show up at the driver's test, if there aren't signs prohibiting you backing into the parking space, then back into the parking space. Go in, check in, come back out, breathe, because breathing will cause your body to relax. And on the driver's test, if you think you made a mistake, keep going until the examiner tells you to stop, because the mistake or error that you thought you made may not be the same error that the driving examiner thought you made, okay? So just keep going until the driving examiner tells you to stop. All right? Your job for the purposes of the driver's test is to take away the examiner's right to fail you. Nothing more, nothing less. You simply have to demonstrate to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic conditions. All right? That's your job. So good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Getting back over here. Okay. Winter Haven, Florida. Hello, Scott. How are you, my friend? All right, Alan family. Is this not for the CDL testing? Alan, most of this stuff on the lower class licenses is in fact for the CDL license. Remember, for a CDL license, 70% of what you're going to learn for a CDL license is exactly the same as it is for a car. Most people who come in for a CDL license don't realize that all the right-of-way rules apply, all the speed limits apply, all of the stuff that you have to do for a Class 5 driver's test is exactly the same as what you have to do for a CDL license. And you would not even believe how many people who get in a tractor trailer with me and I just ding them for Class 5 stuff over and over and over again, okay? So make sure that you're knowing all of the Class 5 stuff. So if you're going for your CDL license, make sure that you're going back and revisiting all the car stuff, because that's applicable to the tractor trailer stuff and the bus stuff and all of those other things. And Cassie, the Wolf, hello, my friend. Thank you so much. Your biggest fear of driving is the fear of hitting a pedestrian, but your videos help me relieve those fears. Thank you for your help, Rick. And Cassie, you are most welcome, my friend. I'm so happy that we could help you get over that anxiety of, you know, because it's real, that, you know, the hitting something, and it's very real. So thank you for that. Richie, got my license last month and I intend to travel to a city in the future. Know any used car brands that is good for saving fuel? Okay, so Richie, Honda Civics, Toyota Corollas are both good, reliable vehicles. They're, you know, cheaper. You can pick one up less expensive than you can other vehicles. Now, if you're looking for something that is incredibly good on fuel, it's Volkswagen Golf diesel. Those are going to get you anywhere from kind of 50 to 60 miles to the gallon. I'm not sure whether that's American. So it's kind of American gallon is smaller than a Canadian gallon, an imperial gallon rather. So yeah, that's going to get you the best fuel mileage. If any of the other smart drivers out there have recommendations for cars that get good fuel mileage, that would be most helpful as well. Princess, tomorrow is my road test. Good luck on your driver's test tomorrow. Remember to breathe. That will help your body to relax. So good luck on that. Drop back and let us know how that goes. And thank you again for the super chats. That is absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. James, test is tomorrow for you as well. Same thing. Remember to breathe. Good luck on your driver's test. Drop back. Let us know how it goes. Katie, my car has a button for the emergency brake. Will the car roll when I release it during the pre-checklist? Katie, anytime that you release the parking brake, of course, it's going to be an electronic parking brake. And so you just put your foot on the brake pedal, hold the vehicle, and then just release it. You can either put it into gear and then release it, or release it first and then put the transmission into drive, and you'll be good to go. Okay? Rocky, that special shirt you're wearing looks awesome. Rocky, thank you so much for that compliment on my shirt. I did have some help. Tracy, my girlfriend, we went shopping and got some new clothes last week because next week I'm going to New York to a conference. I'm actually going down to a YouTube conference next week, Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving. So that's really exciting. So I have some new clothes, which is actually really nice. So thank you for that. Linnell, I failed because I kept going up trying to fix how I was with the reverse parking. Linnell, yes. For that, when you're reverse parking, you get one pull-up without demerits being assigned, and then after the pull-up, you get demerits. Remember, and this is for everybody who's going for a driver's test, when you're parallel parking, when you're backing into a parking space, it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? As long as you're in between the lines when you're backing up, as long as you're within kind of 12 to 15 inches of the curb when you're parallel parking, leave it alone, because most of the time if you keep pulling up and trying to fix it, you're going to make it worse than if you just stay there. Because say, for example, that you're 15 inches of the curb. Yes, they're going to assign you a couple of points, but it's only going to be 3 or 4 points. Whereas if you pull up 5 or 6 times, you're going to be unsuccessful in your driver's test. So remember, we're going for pass. We're not going for perfection. You can work on for the rest of your driving career on perfection, okay? Muhammad, can you tell me the actual position of foot for automatic car for brake and gas pedal? So, Muhammad, you're kind of on an angle like this where the heel of your foot would be between the foot, the throttle and the brake. It's you're kind of working on your heel. Now, obviously, if you're going to be driving for a long period of time on the highway and you've got your foot on the throttle, then you can move your ankle or your heel to a position that's comfortable. But oftentimes it's your heel is a little closer to the throttle, but you just want it so you can pivot back and forth and use your left foot to work both the accelerator and the brake, okay? Jan, my first driving test is this Tuesday. I'm so nervous. Good luck on your driver's test there on Tuesday, Jan. Remember to breathe. That'll cause your body to relax. Focus on that. Focus on the win. Drop back and let us know how you go. Good luck on that. Crystal, yesterday I went to the beach and I had fun. The weather was perfect in the 70s. It was for my dad's company's picnic. I do like the beach. I don't like that much sand, but I do like the ocean. Yes, Crystal, I have to agree. The ocean is awesome, and especially when you can drive there, even better. Jen, my end test is on Friday. Wish me luck. Good luck on your end test there on Friday. You're going to do awesome. Congratulations on that. Andreas, so grateful that I found your channel. I used to be so afraid of driving. Now I'm super confident when I hit the road since you've taught me so much about defensive driving. That is absolutely awesome. So happy to hear we can help out, Andreas. And thank you so much for dropping back and letting us know that we were able to help you out in becoming a safer, smarter driver. That is really, really awesome. Thanks so much. Mallory, because I am blind, I am not able to drive, but thanks to your videos, I've become a very smart passenger. I'm sure you drive your mom crazy, Mallory. That's awesome. Diane, hello, sir. Your class is so informative. Is this recorded? Diane, yes, it's definitely recorded, my friend, and we'll put up a replay also every week. So next Saturday, we'll also put up the version of where I just do the presentation. So I edit it down just for the presentation for people. So yes, it will definitely be up. Patel, what car you recommend for driving instructor to open a business? Patel, usually, yes, the Honda Civic, Toyota Corollas, those work really well for opening a business and becoming a driving instructor. That's what I would recommend. As well, Patel, Corey, I put up the video for you 2 weeks ago. I put up a video on 11 tips for driving instructors. So if you're starting a new business, have a look at that as well, and that'll help you out. All right. Yankee, Rick, which state would you stay for an entire day? California or New York? Also, what are your favorite points of interest of both? New York. I'm actually excited about going to New York because I'm having coffee with a friend of mine in Brooklyn, and I'm very excited about that because I drove to New York City when I was in the 1990s when I was driving truck, but I never actually visited New York. So I'm actually very excited to go there. And my friend Sam, he might show up tonight here on the live stream. I'm going to arrange to meet Sam, which reminds me I got to send Sam an email. So yes, New York City as well. I would love to go to Los Angeles and go there and go to Disney World, take my kids to Disney World. So yes, I'm just kind of a world traveler. So I don't really have a bias towards the East Coast or the West Coast, but thank you again for the super chat. That's awesome. Electrician Gaming, I passed my test second try a month ago. That is awesome. Thank you so much for stopping back and letting us know that you passed your driver's test. How's the last month of driving been going, my friend? Okay, Sean. Where did Sean go? I have my driving test on Friday, and I'm afraid that I'll fail because of not being able to make a proper turn. Sometimes I start my turn too early. Okay, so Sean, between now and Friday, go back to the parking lot, get those 3-foot, 1 meter tall pylons, the delineators, and work on your turning in the parking lot, doing figure eights, forwards and backwards. Corey will put up the video for you on slow speed maneuvers, and that'll really help you out in preparation for your test on Friday. So go back and revisit the slow speed maneuvers in the parking lot. That'll help you out with your turns. Bryce, hey Rick, I have a driving test tomorrow, and the registry has a GMC Yukon, which I'll be using, but I'm usually driven smaller vehicles like cars and small trucks. Any advice for using bigger vehicles? Yes. Bryce, farther down the road, just go slower. It's on kind of short notice like that. That's a big vehicle to be using when you're driving something else for a test. But have a look at the video. Corey will put it for you on how to drive an SUV. And there may be some tips in there for you as well that'll help you out. Amanda says she drives a Pontiac Vibe. Wallace, I'm so nervous right now, like I haven't had a test yet, but I have done some practice driving and I feel like I'm going to screw up. Wallace, you're not going to screw up. You're going to do awesome. We do make some mistakes when we're driving, but that's just part of learning, right? And as long as you have a good mentor with you, driving instructors, taking lessons, those types of things, all of that's going to help you out. You're going to do really well. But no, you're going to make some mistakes. Don't just dwell on the negative. I know it's hard because you're you're learning stuff. And for me as well, I mean, I do jiu-jitsu, as some of you know. And last week we're doing a shoulder roll, and coach is doing it, and he's showing us this technique, and I'm like, how do you do that? That's so weird. And then, of course, I tried it, and you're supposed to do it, put your feet on the wall and try and do it. It took me a little while to do it. And, for me, I'm like, I can do a shoulder roll. I've been doing rolls like when I started martial arts 30 years ago. I started doing rolls in Aikido, right? That's rolls is all Aikido is. And I was like, it took me 2 or 3 days to kind of get it and keep working at it. But you can get it. You can all do it. All right, so one of the things that I want to talk about here is I want to talk about shoulder checking and how important shoulder checking is. So one technique that will make you a safer, smarter driver is keeping space in front of your vehicle. So have a look at the video last week, the final frontier, keeping space in front of your vehicle. The one thing I want to talk about right now is I want to talk about shoulder checking and how important shoulder checking is. Many people, and I dropped in on this comment on one of the videos, and it's kind of a long string of comments where everybody keeps commenting on the first comment that was posted 2 years ago. Here, just let me put that up for a sec. Here we go. Okay, so we'll transition over here. So here's the string. So it starts out 3 years ago with Steve-O saying, I honestly feel like it's sometimes dangerous to shoulder check, even if it's just for a second. That's the second I lose from my central vision. I might hit the car in front of me. Also, I shoulder check just so it looks like I'm shoulder checking. There's something different between shoulder checking when driving and when riding a bicycle. So Steve-O commented 3 years ago on that, and we talked about that a little bit. I did get in on the conversation. I was late to this conversation, but I did comment down here and talked about that. And then somebody's commented here 12 hours ago. And they said, facts, I really don't even look for anything when I shoulder check. I just do it so it looks like I rely heavily on my mirrors, okay? And somebody else in the middle of all of this said that you set your mirrors up to eliminate blind spots, and it's the SEO, safety, automotive engineers, something. They have a technique that they use as well. All right, so the comments go there a lot about shoulder checking. And one of the things that I want to say about shoulder checking is that, yes, a lot of times you're shoulder checking, but you're not seeing anything and nothing is happening. And this is what happens with a lot of driving. If nothing's happening, it doesn't mean that there isn't something you should be doing. Safe driving is the absence of chaos, the absence of an emergency. Shoulder checking to determine if it's safe to move your vehicle laterally or change directions of your vehicle. When you're shoulder checking and you turn your head, you're not turning to look. You're turning so that your peripheral vision moves from here to here. So your peripheral vision changes 180 degrees. 90 degrees, sorry. Your peripheral vision changes 90 degrees. Your peripheral vision, because we have two visions, right? We have our central vision, which is this much. Okay, it's approximately the size of a dollar coin at arm's length. That's how much we can really clearly see. If we put our hands out here, we can see our hands, but we can't clearly see what our hands are and see the details of our hands. When you're shoulder checking in a car and you're moving your head 90 degrees to change, or moving your head this way to change your peripheral vision, you're working to catch light and movement, because our peripheral vision is attracted to light and movement. So when people say you can set up your mirrors so that you can completely eliminate blind spots on your vehicle, that is completely, utterly false. Let me repeat that. You cannot set your mirrors up on your car so you can eliminate all of the blind spots. That is completely, utterly false. And if you are naive enough to believe that, it's going to be dangerous for you and eventually you're going to get into a crash. So you have to shoulder check. Even if you put convex mirrors on your vehicle, it's going to help, but it's not going to completely eliminate all of the blind areas around your vehicle, and you still must shoulder check. If in addition to keeping that space in front of your vehicle to be a safer, smarter driver, the one skill that you need to keep in place after you get your driver's license is to continue to shoulder check, because you need to check to see if there's somebody in your blind area before you change directions of your vehicle or move it sideways. And the one saying that I come up with in terms of shoulder checking is that not shoulder checking is to driving what not checking to see if a weapon is loaded is to gun safety. So if you pick up a weapon, you pick up a rifle, you pick up a pistol that somebody handed you, or you pick it up, you're in a gun range and you pick it up, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to check that weapon to see whether it's loaded. That is fundamental gun safety. And I cannot emphasize and stress enough that when driving a vehicle, you're driving a 2-ton vehicle at speed, the fundamental safety of driving is shoulder checking. And you're not shoulder checking to have a look there to see if there's something there. You're checking to see if there is the absence of light and movement. It's what I was saying before, that a lot of driving, a lot of safe driving is nothing's happening. And when nothing's happening, you're being a smarter, safer driver, because you're putting all of this habits and skills and techniques and abilities in place that are going to keep you safe. So there's a lot of stuff in that feed underneath the shoulder checking video, but you must shoulder check, and it's not about looking to see if there's something there. It's looking to see if there isn't something there, because if there's nothing there, then you can move over safely. All right? Scott, I got my Florida license reinstated back in June. I've been watching a lot of your videos for defense driving. Today I rented a Lowe's truck and practiced driving test maneuvers to get better. And that is awesome, Scott. Congratulations on practicing. If you can, Scott, as well, get some of those 36-inch, 1-meter tall pylons and do some of those slow-speed maneuvers. That'll really improve your overall driving as well, and teach you kind of where your vehicle is in relation to other things on the roadway, okay? Do that. Awesome. Crystal, hey, I do karate and I am almost a black belt. Right now I'm training and mentoring to become a black belt just like my dad and brother are. My dad is helping mentoring me. That is awesome, Crystal. Congratulations. That's no small feat. That is no small feat. I have a black belt in karate as well, and so I've already had a lot of experience with martial arts before I came to jiu-jitsu, but let me tell you, jiu-jitsu is very different than a striking stand-up martial art. Very different. I regularly get my butt handed to me in jiu-jitsu. Regularly. BJ Smith, hey Rick, should I be too concerned that I'm not directly beside the curb when parallel parking between two cones for the purposes of a road test? Smith, no, don't be too concerned about it. As long as you have the vehicle in the space, this is what I was saying to you before. We're not going for perfection. We're going for a pass, okay? Beefy, I need driving lessons from you. I got my L. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, Beefy. I can help you recommend a good driving school, though, because I am pretty busy right now with all the online stuff, so it's pretty tough for me to do lessons in vehicle right now. Trevor, how to tell how far vehicles behind you are when you want to change lanes and if it is safe to do so. Trevor, usually when the car is in the top third of your mirror, there's generally enough space. But as well as if you shoulder check, you can get a pretty good sense of where that vehicle is behind you. And for more details on that, Corey will put the video up for you on how to change lanes safely to pass your driver's test, to practice and pass your driver's test. All right, and in keeping with passing your driver's test, be sure to head over to the Smart Drive Test website. Over there we have Pass Your Driver's Test First Time course package. Guaranteed that you'll pass your driver's test first time, otherwise we'll give you your money back. As well, we throw in the smarter defensive and winter driving courses, the smarter defensive driving and smarter winter driving courses as a bonus. So you get all of that for about $38 US. So Corey will put the link up for you on that. Pass your driver's test first time driver's course over at the Smart Drive Test website. Tristan, hey, I got a question for you. When you are on a 2-lane road driving the speed limit and someone is tailgating you, should you maintain speed limit or go a little faster? Tristan, are you practicing for your driver's test or do you have your license already? BJ Smith, thanks Rick. Appreciate all you do for us. You are most welcome, my friend. Senorita Mona, please, what's the difference between the angle and perpendicular parking, the angle mirror before entering? Angle parking and perpendicular parking. So Mona, are you talking about like angle parking when the parking space is on an angle, or are you talking about backing into the space, into the parking space that's just kind of a straight back in parking space? Corey's put up the video on how to change lanes. Thank you for that. As well, he's put the link up for the Pass Your Driver's Test First Time Smarter package, course package there. Muhammad, I'm going to have my road test next month. My van, whose front bumper and front light glass is broken, but that's just cosmetic damage. Everything is working absolutely fine. So would you, Muhammad, because I can't see the vehicle, I don't know what the damage is, and I don't know what the rules are at your DMV. I would strongly encourage you to maybe go down to the DMV or take it into a mechanic or somebody else and ask them if it's roadworthy, because they might deny you, because I've seen driving examiners be a little bit weird about damage on the vehicle, even if it is just cosmetic. So get that checked out before you actually take your vehicle down, because you don't want to be denied your driver's test because you've got some damaged lights and those types of things, okay? Tim, don't let tailgating drivers push you into a speeding ticket. And I absolutely agree with what Tim is doing. Tim says there, rather, because so much of social driving, and this is the other piece of getting your driver's license, everything that you are required to do for the purposes of your driver's test almost goes against the way that everybody else is driving. Everybody else is speeding. They're not stopping at stop signed intersections completely. They're rolling through. They're driving over painted islands. They're all the pressure of hurry up and go. There's a lot of things in the arena of social driving, of what I call social driving, and you have to go against that social driving to be successful on passing your driver's test. So exactly what Tim said. One of the other skills for you to be successful in not only passing your driver's test, but being a safer, smarter driver is focusing on what you're doing. Knowing that what you're doing is safe and not being pressured by other drivers who are tailgating you. And essentially when they're tailgating, what they're saying to you is, you're driving too slow and you're holding me up and you should drive faster because I'm tailgating you and I'm going to teach you a lesson. That's what they're saying to you through that physical action of tailgating you. That's what they're communicating to you. Don't let them do that. Go, no, I'm not listening to you, blah, 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 blah. I mean, don't do that when you're driving, right? Obviously, you're going to focus on what you're doing, but, mentally do that in your head. Just imagine me doing that. Go, blah, 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 I don't hear you, I don't see you. Just focus on what you're doing, and exactly what Tim said. Don't let other drivers force you into a speeding ticket, okay? All right. The forward when I want to park. Okay, so Mona, you just want to drive into the parking space. Mona, are you going for a driver's test? Because if you're going for a driving test, you're going to have to be able to back into the parking space, all right? So Corey will put up the video for you on how to back into a parking space, reverse stall parking, and that will really help you out with backing into a parking space, okay? Tristan, I got my license. I was just wondering because a lot of people will be right on my tail and I'll be going the speed limit. I notice people always seem to want to go over the limit. Tristan, I encourage you after you get your license to keep up with traffic flow. Don't drive in the clusters of vehicles, but keep up with the traffic flow because that will make you a safer, smarter driver. That will make you more predictable on the roadway. That's just a reality of defensive driving. And, you know, I could get into trouble for saying that to you to keep up with traffic flow. But if you do a close reading of most of the driver's handbooks, that's what they tell you to do. And if you're feeling more comfortable doing the speed limit, then stay in the right-hand lane and drive in the right-hand lane. Focus on what you're doing, for sure. Okay? Amanda, thank you, Scott. Okay, Fernando, now I'm planning on going to a truck school. I want to get my permit before I start. Should I study the whole book or just the chapters the book recommends for taking the permit test? Fernando, definitely, you know, for whatever class of license that you're going to go for, that's the chapters of the CDL license book that you're going to be studying. For example, here in British Columbia, if you're not taking a class 1, you're just going to take a class 3, which is just like a dump truck. There's some chapters that you don't have to study. I don't have the book right here, but I do know what you're talking about. Okay, so just study the books, the chapters that it recommends. Okay. Tim, we call that the lemming defense in traffic court. Everyone else was doing it. That does not work. What are you talking about, Tim? You mean there's a whole canon of legislation and driving traffic laws, you know, maybe like the Highway Traffic Act and those types of things that apply to the individual driver? Yes, very much so. Keb, my test is next week and he recommends. Keb, yes, rewind the video, go back and look at the presentation there. That will definitely help you out. As well, Corey will put up the videos on Pass Your Driver's Test First Time playlist, and that there's a whole host of videos in there that'll really help you out with your driver's test next week there. After passing knowledge tests, I am permitted to G2 or G full license because 20 years experience. If I fault my test for G2 license, could I try to G full? That is a question, my friend, for the MTO there in Ontario. If you have previous driving license experience in another country, there's a possibility that you may not have to take the test. It sounds like you do, that you've already figured out that you do in fact have to take the test. But your license may be transferable from your country to this one. And if they do require you to take a test, it might be a full G test. So some countries, they won't put you back into the GDL program. They will simply get you to take a test, and the test will give you your full license. So when I went to Australia, I had to take the theory test to get my full license, but I didn't have to take a driver's test. I did have to take a driver's test to get my CDL license back, so know that as well if you're moving to another place. Mallory, here in Nova Scotia lately, police have been ticketing people for speeding on the highway near Halifax. Yes, and they do that, but they don't have a quota. They're just ticketing people because they're being unsafe. Tristan, okay, cool, thank you. I get paranoid sometimes about getting rear-ended, especially when they're right on my tail. I always like to do what you said about not following too close. Yes, if you're getting tailgated, then increase your following distance in front. That way it allows you the ability to drive your vehicle and as well to drive the vehicle behind you, okay? So that's what you need. That's your defensive technique for tailgating. As well, the other thing is if people are tailgating and you can safely pull over and get off the road, just pull over and get off the road and let them pass. Let them go somewhere else and have their crash, right? That's the other thing that you can do is if somebody is tailgating you. Loving Hobby, if the speed limit is 75 but everyone else does 85 to 90, should I do 75 or follow incorrect with everybody else? Loving Hobby, are you going for a driver's test? If you're going for a driver's test, you absolutely must do the posted speed limit. If you have your driver's license, then you can keep up with traffic flow. I do encourage you to do that because it makes you more predictable on the roadways. However, as Tim said, the lemming defense, if you get pulled over for a ticket and you go to court, it's not going to fly in court saying that everybody else was doing it. I was just doing what everybody else was doing, unfortunately, okay? Senior Mona, please, what's the average speed of turning in an intersection? New driver's test. Senorita Mona, right turns are anywhere between 8 and kind of 12 miles an hour. Left turns are going to be anywhere kind of 15 to 25 miles an hour, depending on how big the intersection is. If you're not sure about that, Senorita Mona, I recommend that you take one or two driving lessons with a driving instructor. That will really help you out and give you some specifics about what you need to be doing to pass your driver's test and prepare for driving, okay? Tim, no quota anymore. Now I can write as many as I want. That's good humor. That's good humor. No quota anymore. Now I can write as many as I want. Epic, my friend. Should oncoming traffic yield for you if using an uncontrolled intersection to around because it happened to my brother as we were going to church? You know, you're going to make mistakes when you're driving. And yes, you know, as I said, the right of way is always given. It's never taken. And, you know, if a crash is imminent, then, you know, you should simply let off the throttle and let the other vehicles clear out of the way. Because, you know, you don't want to be involved in a crash. So you give the right of way to the other road user, whether it's a pedestrian, a person on a bicycle, truck, trailer, you know, whatever it is. Take your foot off the throttle and let them move out of the way and then proceed. So many times, it only takes a couple of seconds, 3, 4, 5 seconds for you to take your foot off the throttle. I mean, think of having a crash and the consequences of that. You know, you may have injured or killed somebody if you get into a crash. And then, you know, if your vehicle's damaged, you don't have your vehicle for weeks on end. I mean, I know we have no fault insurance now where they fix the vehicles and those types of things, but there was a time that they didn't fix the vehicles. And it sat, crashed and crumpled up in your driveway. But then you're taking the bus or you're relying on other people to give you a ride or those types of things. Whereas 3 or 4 seconds out of your life, just take a breath, you know, cuss on the stupid people walking across the road, jaywalking, dumb people, get it out of your system. Take your foot off the throttle, let them cross the road, and then carry on with your life. That's all it is. And then nothing happens. Okay? That's all you got to do. Tim, my friend, have a great night. Have a great dinner, my friend, and we'll see you next week. All the best. Frank, I'm taking a highway driving class tomorrow. Any tips before I hit the highway for the first time? Yes, Frank, look farther down, as far down the road as you can see. Stay out of the clusters of vehicles when you're driving. And, you know, most important, you know, try and maintain your speed. Keep your scanning pattern in place, looking far down the road, instrument panel, far down the road, check your wing mirrors, far down the road, check your center mirror. And, you know, if you're doing the speed limit, then stay in the right-hand lane. And Corey will put up the video for you on defensive strategies on the highway. I think it's 5 driving techniques on the highway. That'll help you out too. Jay, have a driver's test with a neighborhood full of yield signs instead of stop signs. Never seen this before. I treat this like a normal yield sign. So yes, so Jay, basically come up to the yield sign, slow down, give way to any other pedestrians or road users. You know, check, double check, triple check before you enter the intersection because the onus is on you. And then when the way is clear, you can proceed into the intersection as well. Corey will put up the videos for you on yield signs, and that'll give you a bit more information about the proper procedure for going through the intersection. So lots of people here tonight. I think I just saw the counter roll over 100 people. Crazy number of people here tonight. Busy. And lots of people I know I didn't get to your questions. I do apologize about that. It's so busy. So leave me a question down in the comment. I'll try and get to that. Send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest.com. If you're watching on the replay as well, leave a comment down in the comment section. We'll do what we can to answer your questions. There's lots of videos here that we can recommend that you have a look at for more information about passing your driver's test and whatnot. But like I said, this whole thing, the YouTube channel, the online business and whatnot has been wildly more successful than I could have ever imagined. And as well, head over to the Smart Drive Test website. Check out Pass Your Driver's Test First Time Course Package. guarantees that you pass your driver's test first time. As well, we throw in the Smarter Defensive Driving and Smarter Winter Driving course. Of course, winter's coming up very soon for most of us, so that's in there as well as a bonus. You can pick that up for about $38 US, completely 100% guaranteed. Check that out over at the Smart Drive Test website. So, Blue Sky, please can you make another video for parallel parking with a small car and cones like a road test? Blue Sky, I do have one on parallel parking with cones. Corey will put that up for you and help you out. Dice Money, how many tests you got to do in driving school? So Dice Money, in driving school, you don't do any tests. You just do practice tests in preparation for your on-road test with the DMV. Okay? Honestly, you're awesome, man. Keep up the work. Honestly, thank you so much. And yes, I do plan to keep on, keep on. Jerry Springer, my road test is October 1st, which is this Friday. What technique and tips can I learn to pass? Shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. Make sure that you're shoulder checking, Springer, and as well, make sure you're maintaining that space in front of your vehicle. You can do those two things, and you can do the slow speed maneuvers required for a driver's test. So no parallel parking, backing into a parking space, and three-point turn. Those are the minimum slow speed maneuvers that you can be requested to do for a driver's test. And all of the others are discretionary, up to the discretion of the examiner. So U-turns, two-point reverse turns, backing along a curb. If the examiner feels like asking you to do those maneuvers, that you could be asked to do them. So be ready with those other things as well. Crystal, I also know judo too, but you have to know how to fall properly so that you don't get hurt. Like, for example, breaking your wrists after you slap. Crystal, yes, we know about falling. We have Judo Chris in Jiu-Jitsu with us, and he's a brown belt in judo. He's also a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu, which makes him fairly lethal. And he's always working to get his hips under yours so he can throw you. And yes, that's one thing that I am glad that I did learn how to do. I did take Aikido first, so I did learn how to fall. I did learn how to do break falls, front break falls, rolls, back break falls, and those types of things. And then we're always doing break falls where we're slapping down on our back, and I'm always like, why don't I just roll over and stand back up? Anyway. Frizzle, hey, I did my G test in Guelph in Ontario, and I watched a bunch of your videos beforehand, and I passed on the first try. Thank you. You are most welcome, my friend. Congratulations on passing. How have the first few days of driving been going, my friend? That is really great news. Thanks so much there in Guelph. Casey, hello, I watched your videos and noticed you are in Vernon too. How fast would you recommend going in neighborhoods and being told different things? And my test is tomorrow, so I'm really nervous. Casey, you're not really going to get up to speed in residential areas. It's very unlikely you're probably going to be doing 50. Corey will put the video up for you on the practice road test I did here in Vernon. And you'll notice that I'm rarely doing 50 kilometers an hour. You just can't get up to 50 kilometers an hour. As well, if there's streets where there's cars parked on both sides, it's too crowded to be doing 50 kilometers an hour, 30 miles an hour. So it's up to your discretion. Obviously, don't go too much slower, but on the residential roads, you can go a little bit slower. On the main thoroughfares that go through the neighborhoods, make sure that you're up to speed on those, and make sure you watch out for the playground speed zone signs and the school speed zone signs. Those are both here in Vernon, one at the Lakeview Park, the Peanut Pool Park, and as well school speed zones. Okay, so 30 kilometers an hour, 20 miles an hour for those of you in the States. Everybody knows, and you should know if you don't already know and you're preparing for a driver's test, speeding in a school zone, school speed zone, that when school is in session is an automatic fail on a driver's test. All right. Mallory, just wondering if you're going to do another driving in the rain video. Wasn't planning on it, Mallory. I've got some old videos that need to be redone. So I'm probably working on that first. But is there something specific that you wanted me to work on, Mallory, for driving in the rain? Let me know. BJ Smith, have you ever had to use jiu-jitsu or any other martial arts on someone in the real world, Rick? One time I did, yes. There was one time, but I was brand new. I think I was a yellow belt in karate at the time. I didn't know very much about the world. So, yeah, it was weird. But it happens. Scott, Okay, so you're asking Muhammad a question. Do we also need to turn on hazard lights when we pull over our car for the emergency vehicles? Muhammad, I do recommend that you turn on your hazard lights, but oftentimes if you just pull over and leave your signal on, that's going to be enough when you're pulling over for emergency vehicles for the purposes of your driver's test or any other time. Just having your signal on is going to be enough. You're not going to have to activate your hazard lights. Now, for those of you in the province of Ontario, they may ask you to do an emergency stop, which replicates what you would do as if an emergency vehicle approaches. And for those, yes, they do want you to use your hazard lights. So know that for those of you in the province of Ontario. Otherwise, all good. Just use your signal. Daniel, how can I get motivated for studying online? Daniel, excellent question. How can you get motivated to study online? Say to yourself, I'm going to go online and I'm going to do 10 questions. And set yourself that little goal, okay, of doing 10 questions. And then when you get on there and you start doing them, you're like, hey, this isn't as hard as I thought. And then you do 20, okay? So freak yourself out. It's kind of like doing push-ups and working out, right? It's like, I'm just going to do 2 push-ups. Because if you do 2 push-ups, it's better than no push-ups. It's better than lying on the couch and watching reruns of Breaking Bad, right? So if you go and do 10 questions, it's better than doing no questions. And if you do that a couple of times a day, now you've done 20 questions. And if you do that every day all week, now you've done 100 questions. And you're way ahead of the curve. So say to yourself, I'm going to do 10 questions online. I'm going to do 10 questions and then go and do 10 questions online. That's how you do it. Okay. New beginning. This is my first time in this video. Where are you located? New beginning. I am in Canada, but everything that I do here on the channel is to the United States and Canada. Okay, so we work with everything. So where are you located, my friend? What can we help you out with? Maria, I passed mine when I saw your tricks a month ago. Thank you so much. Maria, you're most welcome. So happy to hear we can help you pass. How's the driving been going? Congratulations on passing and earning your driver's license. That is awesome. Awesome. Yay! Loving hobby. How many questions total? There's on the learner's test, there are 50 questions of which you have to get 80%. So you have to get 40 of the 50 correct. As well, the other thing that I failed to mention, most of the tests, almost all of the tests now are going to be computer-based. If you don't know what the answer is, make sure you read all of the answers. Pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Make sure you read all of the choices. If you don't know what it is, skip it. The question will go to the bottom of the queue. If you get the next 40 correct, the test is over. You don't have to answer anymore. So you may not see that question again. As well, if it took you a while and that question comes back up, in the interim, you may have had enough time for your brain to work on it, and then you know what the question is. You can, on most tests, you can skip the question 3 times before you absolutely have to answer it. So you may never see that question again if you do skip it. Okay, so know that when you're taking your learner's test. Miller, I passed the driver's test on the first try, but I do feel kind of nervous while driving on the road especially. Is that normal since I don't have a lot of driving experience? How do I get confident? Miller, you get confident by practicing more. And if you're not totally confident on busy streets and at complex intersections and those types of things, then definitely go out, practice earlier in the morning and later at night when there isn't as much traffic on the roadways, okay? So that way you get more confident. But it's just practice. It's just being in the vehicle and just doing it, all right? And go easy on yourself because we're hard on ourselves, right? We always want to be perfect at everything. And unfortunately, there's so much to learn in driving that it takes a couple of years before you're really comfortable with driving. So know that, okay? W, so after you take driver's ed, can you get your permit after? W, you're going to need a permit before you go for driver's ed because you're going to get in the car and you're going to drive around. So you're going to have your permit before you go for your driver's test, all right? Jasper, thank you so much for the good wishes. Paul, can you adjust your mirror in the middle of a parallel park and the examiner won't fail you? Paul, I know that there are some driving instructors that recommend that you do that. I do not recommend that you do that because it says to the driving examiner that you haven't had enough practice parallel parking. And driving examiners are usually easily annoyed. So if you're going to spend 20, 30 seconds adjusting your mirrors, it's kind of telling the examiner that you're not you haven't done this enough. So no, don't adjust your mirrors in the middle of a parallel parking. I do not recommend it. Okay. Loving Hobby, does Computer in USA pick 30 of 50 or 350 questions? Loving Hobby, yes, there is a question bank. From that question bank of 300, 400 questions, however many questions there are, the computer, it will present you with 40 of those questions from a question bank, so you're never going to get the same set of questions twice. All right? And same thing, if you take the Pass Your Driver's Test First Time course package over on the Smart Drive Test website that I have for sale, same thing. I have practice driving test questions for your learner's test. You won't get the same test twice because it's a bank of 300 questions and it draws 40 questions from that bank of questions. So know that as well if you sign up for that course over there. Mallory, I have worn my Smart Drive Test t-shirt. I wore it this week and I love it. Thank you so much, Mallory. That is awesome. Really happy you're really happy with your t-shirt. That is awesome. Corey's put up the video on practice driving test questions for the playlist, and that'll really help you out. Mallory, just wondering if you're going to do another on how to get on a ferry. Yes, actually, I can do that for you, Mallory, as well. I can do the ferry because that was a long time ago. That one definitely needs to be redone. So we'll do that for you as well. And I was on the ferry in Ontario. I should have done it then, but I'll get down to the island here again and we'll do another one for you then. All right, so we're going to leave it there for tonight. Thank you for all your questions. If you're watching now, watching on the replay, and I didn't get to your question, leave a comment down in the comment section there and we'll definitely get to it and answer your questions, help you pass your driver's test. Be sure to check out all of the playlists here: Pass Your Driver's Test First Time, Final Days Before Your Driver's Test, Learners Practice Driving Test Questions. All of that will help you out to be successful in passing your driver's test first time. So check all of that out. To all the people that have a driver's test coming up this week, good luck on your driver's test. And for everybody that passed their driver's test in the last couple of weeks, congratulations, all the best. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.